finally they're teaching your child the methods that you learned for adding and subtracting multi-digit numbers. You're back on solid ground and you start to talk to your child about their homework. You use the words carrying and borrowing, and your child either looks at you quizzically or your child says, we don't use those words anymore. And your child starts using this word regrouping. So carrying and borrowing, now we no longer call carrying and borrowing. We call it regrouping. It's the same process that we learned, but we've standardized some language in mathematics these days where grouping is the standard language and it describes a little bit better what's going on. Let's think about how this used to be taught with the language that it used to use. 356, let's start with the addition problem, plus 67. We would add the 6 and the 7 to get 13. We would write the 3 in the ones place, and we would carry the 1. And we would add the 1 plus the 5 plus the 6 to get 12. So we would write the 2 in the tens place and carry the 1. And we would add down and get 4. So 356 plus 67 is 423. And we use that word carry the 1. Now, when I look at what's happening with that 1, the word carry doesn't really match the way I use that word in everyday English. I haven't carried that 1 anywhere. I wrote the 1 in a different place. What's going on here is we have regrouped these 10 ones from the 13 into 110. And by using the language regrouping, we're both describing a little bit better what's happening. We're staying a little more consistent with our everyday use of that word. And we are building a consistency across mathematics. We've talked about this idea of grouping before. And so when we talk about factoring, we're going to be able to group, that 15 is 3 times 5. We might think of that as 3 groups of 5, 5 groups of 3. 15 could also be 1 group of 15 or 15 groups of 1. And so we're using this grouping language. So I want to see this grouping happen. Over here, I have a 356 and a 67. I'm going to split these apart into their hundreds, tens, and ones. Here I have 6 and 7, 50 and 60, and we see it sort of lined up the same way as before. If I merge this 6 and 7, I'm going to get 13 ones. But notice that it turned blue here because it became something greater than 10. So if I split this apart again, it's going to get that 10 plus 3. And here we see this 3 and that 10. I regroup from being a group of 6 plus a group of 7 into a group of 10 and a group of 3. So I have my 3. I'm going to take the 10. I'm going to line it up with the tens place, just like I did before. My 3 goes down here where, say, answers might go. And now what's going to happen if I add the 10, the 50, and the 60? So I have a group of 10 plus a group of 50 plus a group of 60. It's going to add up into 120. Now it turned green now because I've gone over 100. And if I split this, I'm going to see that 100 plus the 20. So here's my 20. There's my 20 down in the answer line. And my 100 is what I previously called carrying, but now it was a regrouping of that 120 into 100 plus 20. And now I have my 400. So I have 400 plus 20 plus 3. If I merge those all together, I'm going to get 423. Now, let's talk about borrowing and why borrowing is now called regrouping as well. In previous generations, we would look at this 6 minus 7, we would say, well, we can't do 6 minus 7, 6 isn't big enough. So we might say, okay, 6 minus 7, I can't do that. I've got to borrow from the 5. So we mark out the 5 and we give the 6 those 10s and 1s to make it 16. Here's the problem with the word borrow here. First of all, do you ever plan to give it back to the 5? This word borrow comes with this idea of using it and then returning it. And we're never going to return those 10 ones to that 5. So the word borrow doesn't really make sense in that sense. It's just not a consistent use. And it does not lend to consistency even within mathematics. There's nowhere else in mathematics that we use that term borrow. So we're going to use the term regrouping. We're regrouping one of these 10s into 10 ones. We are changing one of these 10s into 10 ones. We're regrouping these 5 10s into 4 10s and 10 ones. And then we proceed with the subtraction. 16 minus 7 is 9. And then we go to the tens place. Now we have 4 minus 6. Now again, 4 minus 6 I can't do. I need to regroup one of these hundreds into 10 tens and make 14 tens minus 6 tens. So I get 14 minus 6 is 8, and 2 minus 0 is 2. So let's visualize this regrouping here. Let's think about the subtraction in terms of taking away. So I have 356 and I want to take away 67. So I'm going to, let's think about, okay, 67 is really 60 plus 7. So I need to take away 60 tens and 7 ones. So let's look at 356. I only have 50 tens. I can't take away 60 unless I make more. And I only have 6 ones. I can't take away 7 unless I make more. So I need more tens and I need more ones. Let's look at 356. I have 6 ones that I can take away. So I can take away 6 ones, but that's not enough. That's not 7. I need more ones. Where can I get more ones? Well, I can take either of these other 2 pieces. They're really made up of a pile of ones. There's 50 ones in here. I don't need 50 of them. So what I could do is I could take one of those 10s and regroup it. I've regrouped this 50 into 40 plus 10. If I give one of those ones over here to the ones place, then that's 7 and I can take those away. So I'm going to take away 7 ones. I've further regrouped this to 40 plus the 9 left over here plus the 1 that I took away. So now I have 9 ones left. I can't regroup those. They are just 9 ones. There's not enough to make a 10. Now I need to take away 60 tens, but I only have 4 tens. Where can I get more tens? Well, I can get more tens out of this 300. I can regroup the 300 into 300s. Once I do that, I can break one of those hundreds into tens. That's going to give me more than enough. So now I have 200 plus 10 tens, or 100. I need 2 of those tens to come over with these others to make 60, to take those away. So now I have broken this into 200 plus 80 plus the 2 I moved over, so plus 20 to 2 tens. And I've regrouped this. What it did for me was to give me enough tens that I can take away 60. So now I've taken away 67. I've taken 67 units out of my total here, and when I combine them back all together, I see that my result is 289. When we look at the algorithm, we start to see that this is just a shorthand notation for what we did. We had 6 ones and we needed to take away 7, but there aren't enough to take away. So we broke these 50, these 5 tens, into 4 tens and 10 ones, and we wrote that little 1 next to the 6 to make 16 total ones. And then we can take away 7, and we're left with 9. So now we had 4 tens, and we needed to take away 6. but I can't take away 6 when there are only 4, so I needed to make some more tens. I broke the 300 into 200 plus 10 tens. So now I had 14 tens, take away 6, that leaves me with 8, and 200 left. This has been Math Teacher Barbie, and you've got this.